Okay, well, welcome, as Anna said, everyone. Happy Wednesday. ESA, certainly Cindy, Anna, and I really appreciate you taking time to be part of this great healthcare series focused on well-being, which will continue through October as we have it today. This is the second of what we believe will be 8 meetings set at a 2-week cadence where we plan to really showcase to our network what we're calling the best of the best benefits innovations. Before I turn it over to Art Dickerson, our session leader, to introduce Accolade and Virta Health, we want to sincerely thank our sponsors, ADP and Siegel, and specifically Art for his willingness to facilitate and moderate this discussion today. Art, who we consider one of the innovators in the well-being space, has been instrumental in targeting providers who are unique, and I'll say it again, the best of the best. Art is the president and CEO of Top Gear Strategies. He has been at the forefront of innovation for over 4 decades, and his company advises on leading innovations and growth strategies. So with that, I will turn it over to Art to set the stage for our time together today. So Art, all yours.
Thank you, John. And just flip over to the next slide. So I'll give you a brief agenda, very brief. We want to get into the presentations quickly, but I'll be doing just a very short introduction to frame today, and then get into the presentations and Q&A for each, for Accolade and Virta Health. So again, I want to just say one more time, welcome to Engagement and Retention and this Best of the Best Innovators in Wellbeing series. So everyone on this call knows how foundational this is to get optimal engagement and retention. Today's market and the war on talent is crucial to attract and retain the best talent. And since COVID, employers everywhere are interested in doubling down on these new strategies for a 3-fold improvement, not just cost control, but also behavioral improvement and health improvement in terms of outcomes, and do this in ways that previously were not available. So over the next 3.5 months, as John mentioned, every 2 weeks, this series will highlight 2 of the best wellness and well-being innovative benefit providers. Those I can say from experience are positively impacting the future of work. So as said earlier, you are in session 2 of 8 with the ESA panelists, Accolade and Virta Health, who both are going to provide deep insights on their innovations that is both focused today for a conversation and also completely unfiltered for your learning benefit. We are recording the session today, and we will send out a link to ESA's YouTube channel as well as the presentation. So thank you for being with us, because we know this time you're spending with us is very valuable. So we're honored and grateful that you've chosen to spend the time with us, with the rest of us, really to learn more about how to optimize engagement and retention in this continuing war for talent. As I said earlier, this is being recorded. Today you'll hear from Bill Schmidt with Accolade and Trent Myers from Virta Health. Bill's going to kick off the first session in just a moment, so be sure to stick around for part 2, led by Trent Myers of Virta Health, after Bill presents. It is equally engaging and something you absolutely will not want to miss. I'm not going to give this whole reading here, but because Bill will be talking about their strong capabilities, but Accolade is an employee experience company to get the right kind of behavior and outcomes in your healthcare plan. And I think that we are delighted that Bill is here, very experienced executive with Accolade. And by the way, Bill, congratulations on Accolade recently hitting the 10 million member mark. What a great accomplishment for your firm, testifying what other employers think about your solution. And then also Trent, I want to thank you for being on our panelists today. We'll flip over to Trent's slide. There we go, which is a leader in doing some amazing things with reversing type 2 diabetes and impacting positively the metabolic syndrome. And I can always remind people that Virta Health has been successful all over the place. I recently had a Rice University executive who implemented Virta and could not stop talking about the service. And so, by the way, Trent, thanks and congratulations on landing Humana. I think it's at your list of 20 national and regional health plans and about 5 million lives. So congratulations on that. I know you'll tell us more about the why so many people are seeing value in Virta Health. So Bill, back up to you. You can go ahead and share your screen. You'll have 15 minutes to do your presentation, and thereafter we'll have a 10-minute Q&A. I will need to cut you off at 15 minutes sharp. So Bill, please share your screen now and begin. You've got 15 minutes.
Great. Thank you, Art. I do appreciate that. To the ESA team, I appreciate the introductions as well. You guys see the screen okay? So maybe give me a thumbs up, Art. For the attendees today, definitely know what it means to carve out time to join sessions like this, and really appreciate you dedicating the time today for both Accolade and Virta Health. Accolade operates and lives in the category of advocacy, navigation. Some may refer to our organization as a concierge service within the health and benefits space. When we get invited to meet with employers, see a lot of commonality in what employers are trying to accomplish. Very common for goals of total cost of care reduction. So reduction in admin fees, reduction in total cost of care relating to claim spend, optimizing member experience. I think we've all been in a situation where we have been on hold with a call center, whether that's a health plan or otherwise, and experienced the frustration of getting through to them finally, and then ultimately getting told that we're in the wrong spot, need to start over, and that's some of what we try to alleviate through the service that we supply. Similarly, many of the employers that we work with keenly interested in attracting talent, retaining talent, war on talent, DEI initiatives, overall health initiatives, et cetera. And there's good news. The good news in this category is that there's a lot of people out there very eager to help. Fascinating capabilities that have been delivered to the market over the course of the last handful of years in virtually every category of health, benefits, et cetera. And in some respects, it got to be a little overwhelming. So the not so good news is that this is a lot for the average employee or their family member to navigate. And that's really formed and allowed companies like Accolade to become a reality in marketplace. So with the goal of trying to give you an introduction to what we do, how we do it, what it means to your employees and their family members, just a quick introduction to the concept. We'll dive deeper into the model itself. But Accolade works with each and every one of the health plans in the country. We have a path moving forward to work with each of the health plans, whether that's directly with on their core claim processing platform or via their TPA partner. We also aggregate many of these capabilities that are available out in market as well. All of those little icons that I just shared with you, fascinating innovation that's available in market, yet employees have difficulty navigating to them. And that's where our team comes into place. So think in terms of Accolade being the single place to go. We harness the power of the health plan. So network claim processing, all capabilities at the level of the health plan. Combine that with the point solutions or the population health solutions that you select as an employer. Combine those with the Accolade capabilities. And to try to map that out just a little bit further, it's a concept of being the single place to go for the member or the CEO of the family relative to healthcare. What we try to offer them is a modern consumer experience where they could go to a mobile app, they could go to a member portal, they could pick up the phone and call. They can kind of toggle in between each, trying to meet the member where they want to be met. And in that journey, it's common that there's a dedicated health assistant that is available to that family member to help them navigate all the complexity of healthcare, try to reduce the variability of cost and quality, try to get members to the right location, help them with things like scheduling appointments. In fact, they may have a need that's emergent and need to talk to somebody immediately. About 40% of the time when a member will call Accolade, our customer service department, they will get enhanced to a nurse And so it's an immediate connection to a nurse for benefit of triaging any concerns or issues that they may have immediately. Not uncommon for somebody to be even a little bit more in need of care. And in that case, there's actually an opportunity with this configuration for that member to be guided all the way to a virtual visit with a primary care specialist. And again, all of that can happen in real time. Get on the phone, get connected. Somebody is added to the call for benefit of additional service, and then an appointment with a virtual primary care doctor to be extended immediately in that process. So think in terms, again, we've prided ourselves on being the single place to go. That single place to go is for all things health and benefits, but not uncommon for us to be the single place to go as designated by an employer for things like leave, disability, financial wellness, 401k, et cetera. The logic of that is that if we can help be a simple solution for your employees, it's a great benefit to them from the standpoint of attracting them to your organization, retaining them when they have healthcare challenges. And I think in terms of even some of the technical resources that we have within our company that live in other countries and or came to the United States from other countries, and they're trying to navigate this thing we call our healthcare system, and oftentimes they find it to be complicated. By aiding or offering assistance there, it ends up being a very positive experience for those employees. Benefits to presenteeism, reduction in claim cost, reduction in frustration, and missing out on work. Oftentimes we're asked, how do employees find Accolade? And so very cleverly, we work with all the health plans in the country, and what we've requested from them is the ability to take over the member services number on the back of the health ID card. So instead of calling the health plan, when a employee or family member flips over their ID card, they're actually calling Accolade. Similarly, benefit teams have gotten very creative with the concept of guiding members to call Accolade, kind of a tagline that we've adopted, Ask Accolade, for anything that they might receive in the way of a question from an employee or one of their family members. It's simply a warm transfer over to Accolade, a reminder that this service is available to them, opportunity for them either to secure a message with their Accolade health assistant, pick up the phone, or any combination thereof. More opportunities from the standpoint of socializing. This could be member communications to the employees and their families relative to this service being available. Things as creative as posters and table tents, and obviously traditional digital communication available to get members over to our team. Often we're asked about the point solution connectivity, and we're fortunate to have Trent on the phone today talking about Virta. Virta is actually one of the marquee partners of Accolade. We go to market together, providing the service to the employers that we jointly serve. And this is a depiction of all of the point solution integrations that we've accomplished over the course of time. So 300 plus integrations that we have in place. A number of these, we actually are able to contract on behalf of this vendor to make the purchasing acquisition process really simple for the employer. In other cases, it's maybe a direct relationship that the employer would have with one of these companies. And when we start to work with an organization, it's common for us to adopt the programs that you currently have, either from the health plan or employer-sponsored programs that you may have acquired over the course of time. We integrate that into our model. We make that available to the complete frontline care team in support of you, the employer. And our team knows that those programs are available to your employees along the way, kind of knocking down that barrier to them being able to take advantage of the innovative capabilities that are out in marketplace. So why are we in business? This is a people sport, and every one of you on the phone knows somebody who's had to navigate healthcare and been really frustrated with taking care of either a family member, or maybe it's the needs that they have in finding service. And what's, I think, really interesting is you have that kind of etched in your mind, the member that or the employee that may have called you, and it was one of those stories that you probably have as being remarkable over the course of time. What's interesting is that there's a lot of other individuals that maybe you haven't been in contact with, and they have the same kind of issues, maybe in a different category. They didn't reach out. They kind of were on their own. They may or may not have navigated healthcare effectively. They may or not have shown up for work. They may or may not have decided to leave the organization because they are looking for something incremental relative to employee benefits. So a tremendous opportunity for our team to help you execute your mission. The concept here is one of providing a trusting relationship to each of the employees that you have and their family members for not only their physical health, but their mental health, with the concept of closing gaps or barriers to people accessing care. The stories are I think, memorable in the mind that most of the CHROs and the benefits teams that we operate with recall for us. It could be something in the category of a cancer diagnosis for an employee. The way that manifests that to you might be that the employee calls the benefits team. They're trying to figure out how to withdraw money from a 401k, and somebody might just facilitate that, not ask a whole lot of questions, might be seemingly personal. In an Accolade world, we would ask. We'd try to understand the root cause of why they're taking money out. Not uncommon for people to take money out of a 401k to pay for a health and benefit issue. And our team would help that individual find alternatives to taking that path. Could be somebody that's calling into Accolade for benefit of trying to understand what their obligation would be out-of-pocket costs relative to an MRI at a hospital. Really easy to supply the answer. More complicated to ask why they're going to the hospital as opposed to an imaging center, and do they know the cost differential, and would they be open-minded to the idea of going to an imaging center as opposed to a hospital, very expensive side of service for an MRI. Similarly, the need for somebody special that looks like me for benefit of helping me navigate healthcare, finding somebody that can treat me that looks like me. And again, a very big part of what the Accolade team brings to bear. Similarly, we've all lived through the idea of COVID and the vaccination questions and the desire for getting answers to logical next steps, and the depression and anxiety that can follow with that. Again, a very common path for people to navigate to Accolade, get immediate support from a behavioral health specialist, a member of the Accolade team, or navigate to a virtual visit with a healthcare professional that can help them out as well. Final concept here is just a little bit about Accolade, because our organization very early on served some of the largest employers in the country, and that was our focus. So all of these ideas and concepts were large employers coming to Accolade saying, can you help us solve this problem that we have, or this set of problems? And we very effectively started to serve large employers, but realized the need to fulfill our mission and try to work with employers of all sizes. So as we sit here today, smallest employers we serve are dozens of employees, all the way through some of the largest employers in the country. The outcomes that we've been able to achieve are outstanding. It's very rewarding to work for this organization, knowing what we can do for the benefit of the employers we serve, but also the employees and their families that we serve. As Art mentioned, we've grown nicely. It's been a blast being involved with the growth that we've had over the course of time. There's also been a strong recognition for flexibility in market. So this initial product that we developed was I think a really cool concept. As we've been in market over the longer period of time here, we've grown to realize the desire and interest in health plans wanting to work with us as well. And so we now have established really solid relationships with health plans and created different price points for the advocacy solutions and different distribution methodologies as well. So real common for us to go to market with health plans and be able to offer solutions that are embedded solutions at real reasonable price points across the spectrum.
So you got 1 minute.
So benefit of, that's perfect timing. for everybody on the phone, wanted to offer you the opportunity for a free consultation to kind of experience this for yourself. And in addition to that, any additional follow-up questions that you may have. What you've seen today is probably a 90-minute presentation condensed down to 15. And there's a lot behind the scenes here from the standpoint of technology, clinical capabilities, just professional capabilities that our team would love to share with you if there's interest. So with that said, I will turn it back over to you, Art.
Well, thank you, Bill. So go ahead and stop your screen share so we can see attendees as they ask questions. Thank you, Bill. I'm sorry I had to cut you off. We got to move into the Q&A portion of your presentation. As a reminder to everybody in the webinar, please click on the raised hand feature, or you can just type your question into the chat function and we will ask them for you, as many as we can. We have a few questions coming in. For those on the call, please send your questions or click and raise your hand and we'll get all of those going right away. I'm going to kick this off by saying it's impressive that you have 300 integrations. I just read a recent study from CB Insights. There are now 11,400 digital health starts that are early stage. So, we at the ESA are trying to filter through all that to get down to those organizations that are best of the best. And I think it'd be good for you to explain, I guess, more about the traditional health plan departmental silo and how you become an advocacy for limited literacy, health literacy individuals and knowing where to get their health managed. And then related to that question, can you talk a little bit about how HR executives then justify the added cost that would come with this on top of the expense for their health plan?
Absolutely. So two really good questions. So the concept of breaking down the silos, I think we've all experienced this idea of getting on the phone with a call center and getting kind of shuttled from customer service to somebody else, to somebody else, to somebody else. And the concept here is simplicity. If you think about it as the easy button, I have a health assistant. That's my navigator. That's the person I call. So I call Rachel, I secure message her. She does the legwork for me. She guides me through the process. She's helping out for me. So high level of trust. And the concept of her helping me navigate the individuals within the frontline care team at Accolade. And so we set up a neighborhood with a number of individuals within that neighborhood that can help out with claim questions, billing questions. Think of it as the single place to go for everything. And the concept is HR, not just benefits. So when I say everything, it's really common for large employers to want us to field questions around 401k or leave or disability so that we can get those at bats and then help navigate. And that can go all the way to case management, pre-certification processes, discharge from the hospital, et cetera, et cetera. So very intentionally, kind of to the second question relative to cost containment, when we work with a health plan, if we think about the services they typically supply, some of those go away in a relationship where we're involved. And so there's some health plan cost reduction, and then there's some incremental cost attributed to our model over and above what you normally would pay for a health plan. So claim processing, network, and then whatever clinical programs they would have to offer. We actually have studied this very thoroughly. Aon has studied it third party and independent on 2 different occasions. And our return on investment is super strong. We're increasing the use of the programs that you currently have in place. So think of a Virta where maybe the utilization is low and we can increase that utilization, more cost containment available on that front. Think of the variability of cost and quality relative to like that example I used with MRI. Members and employees are going to go to the most convenient place for them and not always think about the cost implications of that. And it's amazing to me the stories of people going to an ER as opposed to a Ready clinic, hospital-based resource for imaging as opposed to a freestanding. Even within like in-network, out-of-network, all the point solutions that you've invested in that don't really get a lot of utilization, we can increase the utilization of those, or in some cases optimize that. Back to the idea of having 300 integrations, pretty common that somebody may have started out with a diabetic point solution that got dated, and the utility of that kind of reduced, the utilization of it got reduced, and somebody like Virta came in and replaced that solution. Knowing that we have integrations in place with many, it's a real easy swap out for us. It's kind of savings on one level and opportunity to replace on another level. So example after example can go on. I guess the punchline with this is third-party independent study of our results are very positive, and cost containment is the goal of the product.
And I'll punctuate your answer as the vast majority of large employers have more than one health carrier, and therefore having a unified, consistent experience, regardless of which plan enrollment, is becoming increasingly valuable to a largely diverse workforce that has 5 generations working in it, that HR is struggling to manage all that. So I want to get some of the other questions. We had one question that came in. What do you mean really by who looks like me? And do you have a case study who will help the audience understand how an employee benefits from Accolade?
Yeah, absolutely. The concept of who looks like me is that I just think about employers we serve. We have Facebook as a customer, and they want to talk to people that kind of look like them, talk like them, and want to engage like them. And so, and again, not trying to stereotype as much as just, raw facts. 50% of the people at Facebook engage with us via secure messaging. They really don't want to get on the phone. They'd rather secure message than get to a point where if it escalates, they can pick up the phone. LGBTQ community, common for that community to want to speak to somebody that's LGBTQ, and they want to interface with them, and they want to find providers that look like them as well. So we serve that capability. So I think this idea of diversity, equity, inclusion has been front and center recently, and one that we've always had in mind, we've always responded to, and I think we're in a really good position to continue to serve those populations as well.
So that's a companion question I'd throw out there for the group. So it sounds like you're organizing your support operation by persona type. Is that right? Or do you know the number of personas you're responding to?
We do. So personalization being the key here. Healthcare is very personal. And so there's a lot of data that we consume to allow us to be personalized and to personalize the service at the level of the individual. So social determinants of health, where somebody lives, income levels, job types, all of those factor into the type of individual that we can make available to an employee. I think of a couple large airlines that we serve, and real interesting. You have the spectrum of pilots all the way to mechanics, and we have to serve that population. And oftentimes it's a match pairing of a resource to an individual based upon their persona, and data helps us with that.
Well, I remember it's been years ago when the new trainees serving AARP members were intended to be 20 years old and couldn't understand why the people on the phone call couldn't find their receipts, their EOBs quickly, and to sensitize them to be empathetic to their callers, put them on the training calls with cotton in their ears and eyeglasses with a thin layer of Vaseline, and then made them go through their job to create that empathy. So I really relate when you say about, people look like me. People want to know that there's someone in the call that understands their personal situation, their age, their gender, and other factors. So I think that's fantastic. We still have a little more time, a minute or two for questions if we have any more in the queue. So I do that going once, going twice for Bill. All right. Very good. Well, all right, Trent, you're going to be up next. So Bill, thank you so much for that orientation to Accolade, and congratulations on your great success. I want to remind everybody that we do need your feedback forms, and please let our presenters know, or us at ESA, that you are interested in engaging with them for further conversations. So Trent, if you're ready, go ahead and share your screen. By now, you know the drill. You've got 15 minutes, and thereafter you'll have 10 minutes for Q&A. I will need to cut you off at 15 minutes sharp. So please share your screen now and begin. You got 15 minutes.
All right. Can you validate that you can see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, no. Well, my name's Trent. I work with our employers. I'm responsible for growth here with both partners. It's really nice to see Accolade. They're a strategic partner of ours. It does help boost engagement. And also hearing Siegel's the sponsor is really exciting. We share a lot of clients together. There's a lot to cover. I kind of laugh at deep insights in 15 minutes, but my contact information is right here, so I can follow up with deep insights on any of the topics we're going to talk about today. What I'd like to do is start with a patient story. It's very brief, but this is how we start all of our Monday mornings. We start all our board meetings. We start all our internal meetings just to ground us in what we do every day here at Virta.
I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes a little over 6 years ago. Before Virta, it didn't seem like no one was real interested in reversing my diabetes. They were interested in treating my diabetes. So here I was spending almost $500 a month just to manage my own health, just to live. I was paying a copay on my own life. I was running out of different ways to put the medicines together to try to get the effects that I wanted and get myself back to a manageable level. I've been on Virta now for about 6 months. It was 4 days after I started when I got off insulin. I feel the best I've felt in 15 years. I can't tell you how thankful I am that US Foods gave us the opportunity to work with Virta. I'm able to focus more. I am a better employee simply because I have better health. I went down and I saw my HR rep and I just said, I need you to know that this Virta thing that US Foods is doing for us is a miracle. And it's given me back a quality of life that I never thought I would be able to enjoy again.
So thanks for hearing that, but it kind of sets the stage on what it's like to live with type 2 diabetes. And if you can see the results on the left, it's dramatic. I mean, Kevin started out at 326 and lost 50 pounds. And the drugs that he's on, that have been on for many years, are really, really expensive to you. I would imagine if you asked your PBM, what's our diabetic medicine spend and what direction is it going? It's probably a top 5 cost for organizations, but we're in it for population health. But there is dramatic savings with what we're doing here at Virta. So what are we doing here at Virta? There are several of you that understand a little bit about what we're doing, and some have no understanding or haven't been exposed to it. So I've tried to put a program in place that can give a little bit to everybody, but in 3 bullet points, we're here to reverse type 2 diabetes. And so what that definition of reversal means is to return the patient from an A1C back to before they were diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. So regardless of where you are, 8, 10, 11, uncontrolled blood sugar, taking you to 6.5 or below, and reducing all the medications for diabetes. And so that's our definition of reversal, and that's what we're thinking about, and that's our mission, to reverse 100 million people with type 2 diabetes by 2025. The way we do it, there's 4 components. There's a coach, there's an application to connect the coach to the patient, all the equipment that's necessary to measure their biomarkers. And that coach-patient interaction is about 2 to 4 times a day, which was really high to me initially. But again, people like Kevin battle this for 15 years. They see massive improvement. They really want to stay on track. We also have licensed physicians. It's part of why our business took off over the last couple of years, is treating high-risk individuals with physicians that shouldn't be going into a clinic is really important right now. So instead of a benefit ad with with everything else people are doing, we've turned into a must-have conversation off cycle to treat these high-risk patients, and there is a lot of them. And then we have a nutrition protocol as well, and it's really what we're based around. It is based on carbohydrate restriction. If your body's allergic to peanuts, you don't eat peanuts. But you have a different threshold. Everybody has a carbohydrate intolerance level, and we do it on an individualized basis. So we have tribal nations that have cultural appropriations with food. We have people that are on remote deserts. We have people like US Foods and JB Hunt that drive trucks, and their exposure is to fast food. And you have white collar customers like Truist and Comcast that have easy access to food. So what's going to be your likes, dislikes, preferences go into your individual plan, and that's what helps keep it sustainable. What we do offer is a unique go-to-market. You only pay for the people that enroll. That's why the partnerships with Accolades of the world are so important, because we want to reach as many people as possible, but you, the employers, don't have to shoulder a risk of a platform offering. It's we only pay for the people that enroll, and then Virta is putting 100% of our fees at risk based on outcomes, one of which is 40% reduction of RX cost, which pays for the program. So that's in one slide what we're doing. Here are some of the topics, even if you know about Virta, that have come up in the past year and a half. I'll try to touch on some of these. We're based in data, and we've released recently here at the American Diabetes Association some really interesting publications that I'll give you access to. There's a validated savings per patient per month. So every person that enrolls and stays with us for a year or 2 years is like $10,000 savings to you across the board. And we have that validated by a third-party group of actuaries that we can share. We have 5-year data. So we were started with a clinical trial. There was questions about, is this sustainable, which I'll address. We published 2-year, 3-year, 3.5-year, and a population for 5 years. So we're really excited about that. And we've expanded our portfolio, which I'll talk about next. But first, it's the commercial momentum. We've added 300 customers, large employers focused on 5,000 and up in the past couple of years, as well as what Art talked about at the beginning, some really large health plans as well. So he mentioned Humana. We have major partnerships with Centene, a lot of regional blues. But I'll tell you, from whether it's, we have a fanatical client here in Texas with Rice University, but the same results exist at UPS, and the same results are Coca-Cola bottling and the city of Fort Worth and the state of Alabama. They all have different population types, but it works regardless of blue collar, white collar, or no collar. Now, what Virta was known for and what an initial knock on Virta was, I'll try to address with this slide, and that's reversal. We have fantastic results. We, get people into a program that's relatively difficult, but has massive improvement in their life that is sustained throughout their time. But a lot of benefit leaders were saying, I want something that by percentage touches more people in my population. And if I have to communicate a vendor for weight loss and one for obesity and one for prediabetes and one for diabetes management, and then Virta, we have some clients like that, like Concordia. That's a challenge for benefit leaders when there's limited airtime with all these best-in-class vendors. So our customers asked us, you guys do the hard thing. Why can't you expand your portfolio? And so we did. We offer prediabetes and obesity reversal. It's the same program as diabetes reversal. It just has different marketing, different eligibility criteria. So you may not be on as many meds like Kevin, but if you have a BMI of 30, you can be in the program. The new product that we added is diabetes management. So strips, meter, oversight to make sure that you're safe. But our goal here is a nudge into reversal, so that if I'm in the program and Bill's in the program, I'm doing a lifestyle change. The theory is that more people will create a funnel into diabetes reversal so that you can save money and we can get these people healthy. I will say that on that previous slide, 50% of our customers have bought last year more than one product reversal. So the platform concept is really resonating with our customers. And the results is what we anticipated. You'll see diabetes management, 15 to 25% of those people are going into reversal. That's fantastic. That's why we got into that business. Make it easier for you, get more people in where we can make a difference in their lives. I will say you'll read about clinically significant weight loss, and that's 5%. And a lot of good things happen with your body at that level. Our results are more than 2x that by nature of our treatment with obesity. And then probably the most important category is prediabetes. So you hear on the news that about a third of the population is pre-diabetic. If we can keep them from going on the natural progression, it's a win. And 97% of the people that are in our pre-diabetes don't make that progression into diabetes reversal. And then our showcase here with the reversal and removal of meds is our reversal program. And you'll see a stat here that 60% of the people in there reverse their diabetes. Sometimes I get a question, what about the other 40? They often have the most improvement. So if you start out at 11 and lose 70 pounds and are off 3 of your meds and you stop injecting yourself with insulin, but you don't get under that 6.5, we don't count it as reversal. So do people stay in it? Well, it turns out if you're on the journey of multiple medications and injectables and you were diagnosed and you're told that you're going to deal with this for the rest of your life, there's inherent motivation when you see yourself feel better and lose weight and have more energy and lose the meds and impress your doctor when you go in. So we see best in class engagement at the end of the year, and our clinical trial shows 83%. Our book of business is in the high 70s as well. And so it's amazing because it's a promise that they weren't aware of. That's really the goal on why we can do it. So a question I got in the early days is, we've all tried things, but like you bounce back. So is it sustainable? And we do everything with data in peer-reviewed public papers. And so we publish results at 10 weeks and at 1 year, and you'll see, and without giving you this eye chart, just to orientate you, like the line that is horizontal, the gray line, is we're trying to be below that with medications and with A1C improvement, which is a measure of blood sugar over time. You'll see that normal care is increasing medications and a tick up in A1C, which is what's represented in the gray. And so these two key milestone markers prove that we have sustained results with high engagement for our patients in the reversal program. And what I didn't know that's really impressive that comes out with the data at 3.5 years is all the other things. It's an anti-inflammatory program that's primary purpose is to reverse type 2 diabetes, but it turns out when you have that dramatic of a weight loss and health improvement, you also have improved mental health, which we have a paper on. You also have improved cardiovascular health, which was interesting to a lot of people. Your triglycerides and cholesterol and all the things you measure on a panel when you go into the doctor, you see improvement on. It was proved in our white paper that we released on our 3.5 year outcomes. I'm skipping ahead here, and send me an email and I can send you links here, but just we're based in science. We started with a clinical trial. We have published papers and peer-reviewed data points longer than anyone else, but there are published papers on sleep improvement, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, cardiovascular risk factors. But one that's really, really interesting to me is depressive symptoms, because there is an association with a healthy body, healthy mind. And we did a study that I'd love to share with you that 63% of the people that were in the program that are there for a different reason improve their mental health. We also have some impressive outcomes with the VA. Talk about a hard to reach population that's not as interested in the savings, talking about population health over a period of time. And we've been mentioned in the Standards of Care for American Diabetes Association for the past 4 years. But recently there's this international consensus on this term that can be polarizing regarding remission or reversal, just to show that it's widely accepted by the top endocrinologists in, not only the US, but our European counterparts as well.
Trent, you have 1 minute remaining.
So our population outcomes, like just pick one of them, but it works for everybody. These are very different customers. But if you take US Foods, for example, Kevin was from there, population as health is what HR leaders care about. 1.1, this is looking at claims pre and post. That's it. This is amazing. And you can pat yourself on the back because you're getting people healthy. But if you look at 60% reduced RX cost, more than pays for the Virta program, and it's a substantial cost to you that you're bearing. Top 5 cost, guarantee with these medicines, and they continue to go up. And then weight loss of 16 pounds on average, you can see across the board, when I talked about clinically significant was 5%, there were more than 2x those results. We also have a weird I won't say cultish, but we have a fanatical fan base because they didn't know it was possible. So we've actually had 3 people brand themselves with a Virta tattoo. And why I know Harley Davidson has something similar. You don't see this in digital health, and you don't see an NPS score of 78 unless you're making tremendous impact on population and folks. Also, the way that we measure our values and we measure our results and we measure our outcomes and fees got the level 1 and level 2 Validation Institute stamp of approval, just saying that we're not clouding with mirrors and smoke, but we're actually doing what we said we're going to do. So in conclusion, we talked about a lot of things here, but we got a lot of papers, 12 peer-reviewed published papers. We could do a whole presentation on savings, but it's nice to see actuarial companies come and say that they validated our methodology and our numbers. We've got outcomes to prove that it's sustainable over time. And to try to make it easier on you, we have a platform, and you only pay for the people that actually sign up.
Thank you, Trent. Sorry to cut you off. We need to move on to the Q&A portion of your presentation. Stop sharing your screen right now so people can ask questions. A reminder to everybody in the webinar, please click on the raised hand feature, or you can type your question into the chat function, as many of you already have, and we'll answer as many of those questions as we can. One of the questions was just for clarification, what's the number of interactions per year, or what's the frequency of interactions between a coach and the patient?
Yeah, no, I see now. I can open up the chat. I see Ben's question there. It is that 2 to 4 times a day. I've been married 30 years and don't talk to my wife 2 to 4 times a day, but it seems excessive to me. So when asking and doing, and I signed up for the Virta program to understand it myself, a lot of it is understanding your numbers and how blood sugar relates to your numbers. So that's what it's about initially. Then there's education. But because a lot of people have been fighting this for 10, 12, 15 years, and they're seeing dramatic results, what it turns into is sort of a life coach. Hey, I'm going out to eat with my friends at this restaurant. Here's the menu. What's a Virta friendly option? So it turns into maintenance mode so they don't fall off track. And then if there is a biomarker that falls off track, there's encouragement to get them back on track for population health. So I was impressed by the volume. It is a costly part of our business. I mean, we have people that stay with our individual patients through the duration. And the more clients we sign up, the more coaches we have to hire. But it's a model that really separates us.
It's great. Well, there was a question too about, is this only for employers, or do you provide this service to individuals who might be interested on a consumer basis?
Yeah, no, good question. With a small company making the biggest impact and at first only having reversal, what we focused on were a large enterprise, over 5,000 employers that were self-insured, offered as a benefit. We put our fees at risk, they offered as a benefit. That's where you get clients like UPS and Home Depot and AutoZone and the like. We have a D2P, direct to patient, where you can go and sign up and pay. It's a large group. And there's a hypothesis, we don't market this, eventually we will, but this direct to consumer is one of our largest clients. And it's either I was involved in this and this is really great and I'm no longer with the company and I lost that benefit, but I now know the value. You heard Kevin talk about a copay on his life. And so they sign up for them individually. Or sometimes what we see is, hey, Art's employed and has this as a benefit and I'm one of his buddies and I want to support him, so I want to do it for myself. One of the things, a unique benefit that we have at Virta is we gift. I mean, I guarantee I could ask anybody here if somebody in their life is touched by type 2 diabetes, and we can gift one person like a free offering of Virta just to really spread the word. But we also offer it to retirees, like through unions and through health plans, and we have fully insured books. We have ASOs to offer it to their customers. So we're getting out there, but we started with large employers and we're making our way through the rest.
I see. So you've kind of touched on a lot of things about how this actually directly relates to improving employee engagement and employee retention. So the operational and organizational well-being is enhanced. We have another question about the typical approach for gaining access to the individual client. And I think that may be individual member, sort of pre-diabetes, and a related sort of part of that is really what's day one look like? What's the onboarding look like?
Yeah.
or those that might be eligible to participate. Can you kind of wrap this up to close out on?
Oh, Hunter, yeah, no, there's like 2 questions in there, but I love them both. So day one is, so there's education material, and we ship about $800 worth of equipment that you don't pay for. It's bundled in our cost to the individual. And the individual, it's like a connected scale and cuffs and meters and strips and a glucometer. And there's something that measures ketones, which you learn about. And then you have an initial visit with the physician. And it's to go through what I talked about to develop your program. Are you vegetarian? Do you have religious preferences? Are there things you hate? I'm not going to have you eat broccoli and chicken if you hate broccoli and chicken. So they formulate a plan for them. Then they start making nutritional changes, and they measure them on a daily basis. And the doctor has primary responsibility here, because that's when your blood sugar comes under control, and it happens really quickly, that they titrate your medicines down and write the prescriptions or prescriptions. So that is the first part of it. And then you go into maintenance mode. Now, I think what Mary's asking, I don't want to be bold, so if I miss, ask again. But it's like, how do you engage the members in pre-diabetes or those folks? It's marketing. And that's the key to our business. If we reach people, we can accomplish our mission. If we don't have access, we won't. And so type 2 diabetics, we know, they have the most to gain. And like a lot of them will sign up as they didn't know it was an option, and they're super interested. What resonates with obese folks or people that are in prediabetes typically is weight loss. We don't market it as a solution for weight loss. We don't sell that as an individual product, but our marketing material that goes out to that population is different. So type 2 diabetes, it's messages like, did you know you could ditch your meds? Did you know you could reverse type 2 diabetes? With prediabetes or obesity, it could be, like our clinical results have shown 12% weight loss. Would you like to understand more? So it's really just a different way to reach people that we take on ourselves. Good questions.
That's great. It sounds like the accountability partner is sort of a key feature here, keeping people on track and motivated. I remember years ago when there was an effort to try to improve the overall well-being of a group of people who were morbidly obese. You really weren't motivated to go to the local gym where all these very fit people were, but they set up an exercise center where all the cycles were actually pointed inward, and they grouped people like them who had similar weight issues, so they didn't feel like they were, standing out among all the slim fit people. So it was really successful, and I think you've got that baked into your solution as well.
Well, if I could, 30 seconds.
Yes, sir.
I ask clients why they're on at 2 years. And you teach me how to do something, I understand how to do it pretty quickly. And it's the support. I've been doing this for 12 years. I want the support. I'm seeing it. I'm not going to let it go, is what I typically hear. But our go-to-market message, the month they drop off, I understand it. I've graduated. I know how to do this. You stop paying. So we only pay for people that are engaged for that month, and the month they drop off, they're off your bill. So anyway, thanks for the time. I really appreciate it, Art.
Well, you're welcome. So thank you, Trent. And I'm going to just let one more chance for any last minute questions. Going once, any more questions out there? Going twice? Well, I think you both did an outstanding job, and the passion you both have for your companies is just apparent. So that about wraps things up for today. So for the audience, we hope that everybody benefited by learning something new. And as we close, just a reminder that well-being is impacted and engagement retention because healthcare is complex. It's hard to navigate. Health literacy is low, and this is why Accolade and Virta are the perfect partners to help. The Accolade solution is personalized healthcare with an easy button that empowers members' experience. It reduces the total cost of care. And the Virta Health Coach physician-based solution reverses type 2 diabetes, provides nutrition therapy for significant weight loss. That's always popular. And medication reduction and elimination, which is a positive for any health plan. And of course, these days, improve mental health. So as a reminder, we're going to send out a link to ESA's YouTube channel with the presentations, but don't hesitate to reach out directly to the presenters via the contact information in their presentation to learn more. I'm going to turn this back over to Anna and John to close us out.
Thanks, appreciate that. So on behalf of Cindy and John and I, we just want to say a big thank you to Art for all that you've done to help us put these on, and Bill and Trent for spending your time today. And yes, you will get the recordings as well as the presentation and a very, very short survey. If you could fill that out, we'd appreciate it. And if you haven't signed up for the remaining events, you'll start getting some information about that. But the next one is 7/27, and it's out there already. And we're going to hear from 2 more great companies, and hope you can join us for that event as well as all the rest of them. But thanks again. And you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and look forward to talking to you in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Happy Wednesday.